Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart true. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. We always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth-telling, more problem-solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Guess what it is? October the 1st. Hard to believe, but here we are, October, November, and then you know what happens in December. Lots of parties, lots of food. Christmas is here, family time. So we're rolling right into, I can't even believe it. Yesterday, someone asked me a question and it made me think about, oh yeah, it's December. This is happening in December. And I thought, oh gosh, that is like literally right around the corner. So yeah, there you have it. So good morning to everyone. I see a lot of our usual suspects are here. We're going to go ahead and get the show kicked off. So of course, everybody knows what the drill is on Tuesday. It's Medical Rundown Tuesday. Now I know there's a lot of excitement yesterday, but you guys are going to have to hold on just a little bit longer for us to get to that hot mess of a situation. We'll leave that for tomorrow's show. You guys know what I'm talking about. Toto. Ooh, honey child. What a mess you're in. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, break down all the details in terms of what we don't know, what we do know, I should say. And we can certainly speculate about what we don't know, but what a situation. Gone viral. If you know, you know. If you don't know, well, you'll soon know come tomorrow. Anyway, class is different every single day. So you guys know the drill already. You've got to be prepared for anything, any day of the week. And we've got a full show for you today that's very, very informative and educational. And I love these shows because you learn so much. So we're going to be talking with the good folks over at Health City Cayman Islands. By the way, big shout out to those of you who enjoyed. Quite a few of you reached out to me about the special feature yesterday with the Camana Bay location, and you were saying how much you absolutely loved seeing the facility. You know, we got the inside scoop. Don't you guys worry about that. And so we were able to bring it to you and make you feel like you were right there at the facility. Oh my gosh, it really is something. It's very, very impressive. And trust me when I tell you that I don't say that lightly from an aesthetics perspective or in terms of the medical equipment that I saw and everything. And of course, the expertise that will now be available to you. I was even saying to my girlfriend, she said to me, sorry, that, Sandy, I need to make an appointment because, when you get to be a particular age now, those numbers keep creeping up on you. You got to watch cholesterol numbers, A1C numbers, blood pressure numbers, all sorts of stuff. And she said, I got to go do my executive health check. I want to make sure that everything's okay because we're struggling a little bit with the cholesterol numbers. I said, yeah, honey, child. Mm-hmm. We all have something in the 50 plus category that we need to be monitoring. So she lives in West Bay. So of course she was saying that the West Bay facility is going to be really, really convenient for her. But you know what? It's not just for people who live in West Bay. I don't live in West Bay. I actually live in the Eastern Districts. But every single day, I have to go to town. And the beauty of Cayman Bay is it's literally a hop and skip. It's in Georgetown, as far as I'm concerned. I know you West Bayers is like, that's still part of West Bay Road. I get it. But for me, it is literally right there. A lot of times I go to Cayman Bay to have meetings and other stuff. So it's very, very convenient. So I can see myself, depending on what time of day the appointment is, definitely utilizing the Cayman Bay facility as well. So check it out, folks. A lot of the same physicians that you've come to know and love at the East End location also have dates now that they'll be working out of the Cayman Bay location as well. So Dr. Naranjan, I've got to see him. We're going to do a little follow-up on the whole neck situation and the knee situation and all the fun stuff that starts to go crickety crick now when you're getting up in the morning. And I've been doing a little bit of physio, and I have the choice of going to his clinic at the Cayman Bay location or going to East End. So it's absolutely fantastic. But we have two important topics we're going to be talking about this morning, both, quite frankly, very, very near and dear to my heart. So the first one is the International Day of Older Persons. In this community, we are so incredibly fortunate to have a number of older persons in our community. And just last week, you guys might have remember me mentioning that I went to a lecture. And at the lecture, they were talking about, not marriages of convenience, which is kind of us, unique to our immigration laws. But what was the term that they use again? Hold on one second. It's so trying to remember exactly the term. But basically, it's people who take advantage of people in marriages, right? So predatory marriages. There you go. That's the terminology. So it was actually a lecture on predatory marriages. And I thought it was so incredibly interesting. It was big shout out to the STEP Association who put it on, and anybody could attend. It was open to the public. So I went, and one of the interesting things that the lecturer said during that segment is that in the region, and even really around the world, the Cayman Islands is one of the few places that has put together legislation around the older persons and really seeking to focus on them and making sure that they have, a supportive system, both legislatively and in the community, to hopefully help them live a much fuller life. Because let's face it, because of the medical advances, more and more, we're all living longer. And at some point, you're fortunate if you get placed in that category of being an older person. So many of you know that Miss Lucille Seymour, for example, she was the chairperson of the Older Persons Committee, and she just turned 80 years old. So I think it's wonderful that we can have today be International Day of Older Persons, and we can really focus on them. So Shamari is here this morning, and we're going to be talking about that first and foremost. Good morning, Shamari. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy. How are you doing this morning?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Everything's good.
Everything is good. Everything is good. A little bit gloomy outside. I have on my gray. A little bit gloomy today. Dolphins
Yeah.
lost yesterday.
Oh
We
no.
have a few critical injuries with the team, so not good news from a football front.
Oh my gosh.
But here in good spirits as we have 2 for 1 today, as you were mentioning.
Yeah.
So we're definitely excited, and that we're going to have Dr. Ravneet Verma, who's our
Mhm,
consultant from an ENT specialist perspective, that will be on, as well as we're also going to have some special guests that are
mm,
coming from the ACI foundation, and they'll be able to come on, and we will have a good conversation as it comes to International Day of Older Persons.
mhm,
So it's going to be great that we're going to be talking about common health issues affecting older persons, whether it's hearing issues, the diagnosis, the treatment, prevention. And we'll have a special promotion that we'll be able to speak to as well. And
mhm,
as you are aware, as our society obviously ages like the rest of the globe,
mhm.
we too have made more or less investments. And we have, he says to call him a mature person's physician. So outside of Dr. Ravneet that will be on, I think he's come on once before as well. We have Dr. Sunko Gupta, who is our mature person's physician that we have specifically for more mature persons to be able
Okay.
to gain access. And we'll be able to speak about that senior health chat promotion that also includes
Mm,
him as well.
yeah. Wow. So that sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for making those introductory remarks. And I think that we're waiting. Are we still waiting on one more person to join us? All right. So I think we've got some persons waiting. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Oh, we got a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So, this International Day of Older Persons being celebrated today around the globe, really just such a significant day. As both Shamari and I have already said, it is an honor to be considered a mature older person, whatever you want to call it. But let's talk about a little bit about how we came to even have this day that recognizes, our elders, and also the theme for this year being aging with dignity, the importance of strengthening care and support systems for older persons worldwide. So let's talk about why this is something that we really do want to acknowledge and support when it comes to the celebration of International Day of Older Persons. Anybody can feel free to jump in.
So it is important. I mean, as we know that out of we are an aging population in the whole world. In another 20 to 30 years,
Mhm.
a significant population all throughout the world, especially the Western world, is going to be more above 60 years, and we have an inverted pyramid that's coming up. So it's really important for us to take care of the elderly and make sure that they are living their life to the fullest and not being bogged down by any problems at all. As we said, like
Mhm.
there is enough data to suggest that there are certain conditions that cause a lot of disability in older individuals, not allowing them to live their life to the fullest, and all of them are actually treatable, and they can be taken care of,
Mhm.
and actually quite easily. So it is important, as we are also growing old, make sure everything is set up for us as we grow old.
Exactly, and just to further that, so we at ENT in Cayman see lots of patients with age-related hearing loss, so presbyocusis, and one of the most common types of hearing loss that we see here in clinic. So that's why we found that it was really important for us to partake in the senior health check at Health City. We're offering comprehensive hearing assessments as part of that offer that they have on at the moment with their senior health check. It's so important to come in, especially, patients who are 65 and older. We can see that 1 in 3 patients over the age of 65 present to clinic with a hearing loss. That number doubles to nearly 50% of all patients over the age of 70. So it's really, really important to come into the clinic and have your hearing checked, even if you don't feel like you have an issue with your hearing. Presbyocusis can be a gradual onset of hearing loss, so it's really important to come in. And studies show that early intervention and treatment really have a great benefit for the patient. So it's really important to take advantage of that while the senior health check is happening at Health City and come into us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, again, if you're just joining the program, we're talking about a really important topic this morning. We're celebrating International Day of Older Persons, again, being celebrated around the world. And it was designated way back in 1980 by the UN General Assembly that this day is something that we should set aside and celebrate. So, listen to this super interesting statistic. By 2030, the global population of older persons is projected to exceed the number of youth and double the number of children under 5. Wow, that's pretty significant. And Shamari, from the perspective of healthcare providers, that means really that the biggest group of individuals that healthcare providers will actually, be catering to, if you will, are the older persons.
Mm,
So, yeah.
definitely, and that's why, Sandy. In short order, you will hear about other things that Health City are looking to implement within the society to try and help to lower the cost of healthcare, as well as other areas surrounding healthcare. And the reason being is that we know that as the aging population goes, that there are going to be a lot of increases in healthcare, and it isn't sustainable if you're continuing to do the same things and see the current increases, knowing, as I've heard you a few times talking about the fact that money doesn't grow on trees, right?
Mhm.
And even from a government perspective, you have a budget, but you have certain revenues that come in and revenue measures. And then you need to be able to balance your budget. And healthcare is such a major component of it, whether it's the actual providing of the healthcare services and or the paying for it from an insurance perspective, etc. And then for those that don't have insurance, how government needs to play a role as well. So you hear about that a little bit later during the year. However, just to bring it back to the topic, the fact that we are going to have so many people within this category, this is why it's also important that we're doing a lot of our checks and the such from an earlier perspective, so
Mhm.
that if persons are going down the wrong road, we can kind of help to get them back on the right track. So even within their elderly years, there isn't as much expense that has to be taken from a healthcare perspective if you're able to hopefully get people on a healthier track. And that's why we're very pleased with our partnership as well with ENT in Cayman. And you can see the partnership works so well. We have one camera and two professionals right there.
Yes.
um, and just because it was touched on before, our health check, senior health check promotion that will happen in East End, it's
Mhm.
for adults that are over 65 years of age. It includes an assessment of memory, bone health. You're also going to be able to have a balance test, as well as it measures the continence, and you'll have all of those tests done by an experienced physician.
Mhm.
We're also going to, and this is why ENT came on so great, there's going to be a free hearing test.
Mhm.
That's also going to be included. That will be booked directly with ENT in Cayman. And
Mhm.
appointments need to be booked between October 14th to the 31st. But we're really looking forward to having that promotion in order to make sure that the more mature population can come in and get checked, and we have a reduced price for that senior health check promotion of 250 USD. And
Hmm.
obviously, for those that may be in a place where they may not be able to afford it, they can always give us a call, and we'll be able to have a conversation and make sure that they get those checks that are needed regardless.
Hmm.
So we thank ENT and Cayman for being the great partners that they are with Health City, to be able to really fulfill and have a holistic senior health check as well.
Wonderful. So we do have some comments. Keisha is saying, why do we have to wait until people are 60 for them to live life to the fullest? Well, we're certainly not recommending that, Keisha. You should be trying to live life to the fullest at any age. But we're just recognizing today as a day that is set aside around the globe again for older persons. And we're also saying that, just because you are over 60 doesn't mean that you stop living life to the fullest. So perhaps that is the most important message. There are a lot of people, Keisha, unfortunately, who will have, health issues, cognitive decline, and so on as they start to get into the senior years. And this is why it's important to ensure that they have the support that is available to them. It's so nice when you have youth on your side. And I was just saying this to someone over the weekend. We were talking about, oh man, I got an ache in my knee, and I've got this, I've got that. And unfortunately, when you're younger, there's a benefit to being young. You can recover quicker. The body just responds completely differently, to be quite frank and honest. And you don't have that benefit necessarily as you get to be a little bit older. But of course, we now know that there's a whole body of evidence. We're going to bring in Miss Dorothy Davis here from the Alzheimer's Association, but there's a whole body of evidence, quite frankly, that demonstrates that if you take care of that younger body and you keep it active and you keep it in motion and you go to, the health professionals who can diagnose anything that you may have early. So whether it is the hearing loss, whether it's arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, cognitive decline, all of these things can be treated. The sooner you catch them, the better. They can be managed, and there are treatment options that are available to you. So our first guest joining us from ENT in Cayman, again, talking about hearing loss impacting about 1 in 3 adults ages 65 to 74. So the chances are you have someone in your life who falls into this older person's category who's actually, being impacted by hearing loss. I mean, sometimes the amount of times I'm asking someone to repeat something, I got to wonder myself. I'm like, what did you say? I didn't quite get that. But yeah, our seniors are definitely being impacted by this. I've got a little story to tell. When I was in high school about the whole hearing loss thing, and young people don't always appreciate what some of our seniors are going through. So I used to volunteer. This is when I lived in Tampa. I used to volunteer with a program through my high school where we'd go into the nursing homes and we would read books, read the newspaper, and interact with older persons who were in a home facility. And they looked forward to, it was once a week, we'd go there. And they really looked forward to our visit. So they kind of paired us with an individual. And I remember that I got paired with this gentleman. And so I would go and I'm like reading the newspaper. So the very first time I was so excited. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna love to hear me read, catching him up on all the latest news. Back then we had the physical paper, pulled it out, and I started reading to him. And I spent almost the entire hour there just reading and going through stuff. And I'm kind of like trying to engage with him, but I'm noticing he's not responding too much. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's just trying to feel out the situation. And at the end of practically at the end of our segment, he looks at me and he says, hold on 1 second. Let me go get my hearing aid so I can hear what you're saying. The entire time I spent talking to him, and he was just in bliss, just sitting there listening to silence and not my voice. So I chuckled, and that's a memory through the years that has always kind of stuck with me. That maybe he didn't mind not hearing too much because he was more enjoying the company above anything else. So there you have it. But there's a number of different types of hearing issues. So can we talk about what these two are specifically? So we have this, what's it called? Age-related hearing presbycusis.
Presbycusis.
Presbycusis. That
Yes.
should be a word of the day.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
it is an interesting fact that when you
yeah.
talk about the number of people who are in the advanced age group or the more the elderly,
Mhm.
when you look at the stats, the average age lifespan of both men and women is now over 80 years of age, and after 65 you have at least one third of the adults who have hearing loss, and that increases to over half when you have 75. So at least half of your population, which is more than your younger population, is suffering
Mhm.
from hearing loss. Another interesting stat here is that it has been the expenditure to governments and policies for managing hearing loss, especially when it's not taken care of in time, it costs in loss of productivity and in treatment about 700 to 800 billion dollars globally every year. And also now it has been proven beyond doubt that hearing loss, especially in the elderly, leads to earlier onset of dementia and cognitive decline. And
Mhm.
so dementia takes about 10 years from the pathology onset till they show symptoms. And this cognitive
Wow.
decline and dementia actual onset has both been shown to be highly significantly associated with hearing loss. And that happens because when you're not hearing, your brain is actually not working. So that part of the brain starts to decline much faster than it would have. And that's why the hearing test that we're doing is really important for this segment of the population to get their hearing tested at a more regular basis, because with the cognitive decline risk and the kind of hearing loss that happens with the age related hearing loss, they
Mhm.
don't always realize that they have hearing loss, because you start losing your hearing not as in among all frequencies but only in the higher frequencies first. And with that, so a one-on-one conversation is not always difficult, but conversations in groups of people or in noisy environments, they can be significantly affected. But since the one-on-one conversations are still all right, a lot of people
Mhm.
ignore their problems, and they just end up coming to the doctor and showing and getting their hearing tested much later than they should have actually had. And once that cognitive decline has already started happening, it's really hard to stop it. So an earlier treatment also prevents your cognitive decline, also decreases the chances of dementia, and that allows a more full and functional life. And
Mhm.
that also actually reduces healthcare costs
Oh
eventually.
wow.
Yeah. And just
Yes.
to what Dr. Verma was saying, there was a really interesting study by Dr. Frank Lynn. He is a neurologist at Johns Hopkins University, and he did a longitudinal study that looked at two groups of patients, both with significant hearing loss. And the first group were treated for their hearing loss by the use of hearing aids, and the second group of patients were untreated. And after the 10 years, they did a cognitive study on all of the patients, and the treated group showed to have 48% less cognitive decline in relation to their untreated peers. So I suppose that in itself is a huge and significant piece of information for us as well, which shows the benefit of early treatment and prevention of hearing loss as well.
Wow. That's shocking to hear.
Yeah.
Correlation that is, proven really. So we have Miss Dorothy Davis here. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. I do apologize. I was in the wrong studio.
That's okay. That's okay. That was actually my fault why you were in the wrong studio.
Oh,
But yeah, just a little refresh and we were good to go. So tell us a little bit about your association, because obviously we've just touched on dementia, cognitive decline, which is something that you're working hard through the Dementia and Alzheimer's Association to really educate people, help them understand what it is, and hopefully one day working towards effective treatments and maybe even a quote unquote cure for some of these things. I think a lot of headway is actually being made.
yes. Thank you. And I do appreciate the partnership and the collaboration with Health City from inception. One of our directors on our board was Dr. Mira Balraj. She was a psychiatrist over at Health City, and she introduced me, to along, and she said to do stay in contact with Health City because they have the, doctors who are very supportive and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And we have found that Dr. Gupta, who I heard Shamari spoke about a few minutes ago, he
Mm-hmm.
actually accompanied us to the BRAC to do some classes there, to get people to understand what is dementia and what's
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's and the different, different related dementias and so forth. But our association is we one of the biggest things that we want to do was education and awareness, because people among you, I mean, dementia doesn't show. Do you know anyone walking in the community that have dementia? Not likely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the behaviors sometimes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, dementia is not only about memory loss, but it's also the way that you act to certain environments or people or things around you. It's just behaviors and so forth. So our association continues to raise awareness. We educate the community, caregivers. We source the right tools for education. We don't just go to, the Google. We get the professionals. Um, we've also, I think Dr. Rumnish also did he stepped in for Dr. Mira one time and did a presentation at one of the health conferences for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we continue to, as I say, to work with doctors, and will continue to work with Health City. Health City is also on its way to becoming a dementia friendly hospital. We've already done several, they already have several dementia friends. That's one of the initiatives that we also started in the 2018, revamped it. And we're now having someone from in November, a professional that's coming in, that she will be doing, she's going to be doing it wide scale. So Health City would be one of the, hospitals that she will be meeting with us, doing as many people doing it, because you do a dementia friend and then it's a dementia champion and it's a master who will then be able to continue as like Cayman is very transient. So you may have someone that would leave. So a new person comes on, someone in Health City then would be able to do the presentation for the
Mm-hmm.
new staff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my apologies. This is really good to know. Again, the type of care that is available on the island for our community. Now, your association has a lot of activities throughout the year. So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what some of those activities are and how people can also get in contact with you to find out more. Because, of course, as much as we can push back dementia, the better. One of the things that was just mentioned is you've got to use your brain. It's like any other organ or skill or thing that you have. If you don't use it, unfortunately, you lose it. So, doing keeping active, doing mind games and brain activities is something that has been shown to be extremely helpful. So, tell us a little bit about what your organization does, because I know I've been to a few of your events, and you get the seniors out, they're interacting with each other, they're having conversation, they're getting to play a variety of different like board games, and so tell us a little bit about that as well.
Sure. So we have twice monthly, we have what we call memory cafes, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very inclusive. So anyone over 60 can attend. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're dementia friendly. There are people with dementia are there and people that does not have any dementia. But however, our goal is to keep dementia at bay if those things do work, where
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So the social isolation, get them out to become more socially active, mentally active. We do the arts and crafts, the sing-alongs and so forth. They say music is good for the
Mm-hmm.
brain, so we do that. We do chair exercises, so that's the physical part of it. And those memory cafes are held. Now they're held. We do them throughout the island because we do a lot. We work very closely with Department of Children and Family Services, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a seniors program. So what we do, we work with them, and then we go into different districts. So we will
Mm-hmm.
go to East End, because rather than people in East End having to come to us, we go to them, and we do North Side, West Bay, and so forth. So on Saturday, for example, we are working. This is Older Persons Month, and we're working with the Department of Children and Family Services to do an exercise session in Town. Then we go over to the BRAC and we do the same thing there. So we're doing. There's going to be a bit more information. We're doing what we call a joy and wellness session there, and that would be like, look, mind, body, and soul type thing. The older people like to, which I am now in that category, just turned 65. So they love their kind of like praise sounds, devotional
Mhm.
things. Yeah. So they like to start off, and we've not structured. So we go in one morning, we say, okay, we're going to do crafts first. They say, no, I want to do sing-alongs. So we
Mhm.
do sing-alongs. We just work with them. So they want to do
Mhm.
sing-alongs, and the age group, as I say, anyone can come. We don't turn anyone away. Although we say 60, we've had some
Mhm.
younger people because dementia, as the doctors know, dementia here in Cayman Islands, we've seen people in their 30s, 40s, 50. Yesterday I saw a 62-year-old. Now they say it's more prevalent among 65-year-olds, but we're seeing younger people diagnosed.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
our events, as I say, it's a range of things that we do. In the craft sessions, we do the sing-alongs where, but however, it's always a challenge with getting a venue in Georgetown. We don't
Mhm.
want to sit in Georgetown. We just want to go all over the island to do things. We go
Yeah.
to them. You have to always come to us.
Right. And as we have this aging population, Dorothy, we just saw a headline 3 weeks ago in the Guardian about how dementia prescriptions jumped some 46% in just a decade in Australia, because they should now be preparing for the full impact of this disease. So it's impacting countries all over the world, all over the globe, and we have to try to keep up with as much information as possible. There is a lot of evidence that there are things that can make a difference, including one's diet. So, The Guardian also carried several weeks ago a very, very interesting article about how flavonoid rich foods and drinks may cut dementia risk. There is a study that says things like berries and teas that are, full of those antioxidants can actually help lower your risk by as much as 28%. So living a healthier lifestyle before we get to the older persons category, it remains extremely important. And I know obviously that Health City is committed to prevention being the most important thing. Again, I encourage people to do all of your health checks and to kind of get some numbers as a baseline to see what areas you really, really need to improve upon. Shamari, again, we talked about this, I think, previously, but when you had the official opening ceremony at the Kimana Bay location, Dr. Shetty was there and he was talking about something as simple as making sure that you're getting enough exercise every week as part of your regular routine. Wearing these smart devices or smart watches or smart rings and other things that can remind you. Whenever I have on my Apple Watch, it tells me, okay, you got to get up and move. You've been sitting down for too long. Sometimes the whole day goes by and we're sitting at a desk and we don't recognize it. So
And
increase
yeah,
activity,
and
both physically and mentally.
and Sandra, the component that he had actually mentioned in his speech was something so simple. In that anytime you're on the phone talking, you get up and
Mhm,
walk around as you are talking, and
mhm,
you'll see the amount of steps that you'll actually make by just something that you have to do during your regular work anyway. Have a headset, walk around
mhm.
while you're talking, and he says that that actually helps to elevate the exercise you'll have, even if you're not able to get on that track or that treadmill
Mhm.
um, for the 30 minutes, the 4 times that you should be doing it a week. Walking around when you're on the phone daily, especially with us that sit at the desk, would do a
Yes.
world of difference. And that was just one small tip that he's seen made a lot of changes for individuals that he sees on a daily basis as well.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. So, increasing, some of the good things in your diet and decreasing the bad things. There's also been a link recently, and I thought this was kind of interesting. There's a new study out that talked about a link between heat waves and dementia. This was something that was featured in the BBC. So my goodness, there's so many, potential factors that, exposure to extreme temperatures is linked to cognitive decline, kidney disease, skin cancer, and the spread of infectious disease. So another reason why you should be checking in on your seniors, making sure that they are in environments that are conducive to them, living their best, healthiest lives possible. So, yeah, absolutely amazing. So we've got a little bit more information here, if we can, about some of the treatments for on the hearing side of things, some of the available treatments, everything from hearing aids to implants. So can you tell us a little bit about, what some of these are? I was surprised to see earwax removal and treating infections actually on here as well.
Yeah, so there are two types of hearing losses. One, you have a conductive hearing loss. So anywhere with the mechanical vibration
Mhm.
mechanism of the ear, when you have a vibrating eardrum that vibrates the ossicles, which are the three smallest bones in the body, and that sends in the vibrations to the inner ear, where they're converted into signals to be carried out from the nerves into the
Mhm.
brain. So anywhere in the vibrating mechanism, if you have any deficit, it could be wax, could be infection, could be tear in the eardrum, could be a displacement or fixation of those bones. That all can cause something is called as the conductive hearing loss. And then you have a
Mhm.
loss in the inner ear and the nerves. That is called the sensory neural hearing loss. And again, when you have a conductive hearing loss, those causes are actually treatable, completely treatable. And with sensory neural hearing loss, most of our options are with hearing aids. And for very severe hearing losses, you have cochlear implants. Uh, Earlier, when cochlear implants came in, they were initially only given for people with bilateral profound hearing loss.
Mhm.
But now you have single-sided deafness as a legitimate cause for doing cochlear implants as well, because when you have different hearing capabilities in both ears, sometimes hearing aids don't work as well if you have one side working normally and the other side being highly deficient. Um, and so hearing aids, cochlear implants, and there are some other modalities like middle ear implants, bone anchored hearing aids. All of these are there for specific scenarios where you can supplement or treat hearing loss.
Mhm.
And hearing is actually it is the only special sense that any deficit in that can be completely treated or supplemented. And none of the other special senses, like we don't have the tech to do that with vision or with taste or anything. Hearing is the only one you can completely treat with
Mm.
uh, full efficiency.
Wow, that's interesting to know. All right. So, what are some of the things that we can do to prevent hearing loss? Because we know that sometimes it's linked again to lifestyle and health related issues. So, what can we do?
Yeah, so I suppose one of the biggest things is noise exposure. Noise
Mhm.
exposure is one of the biggest causes of early onset loss. So, you mentioned earlier about smartwatches and all of those things counting our steps, but they also, with our iPhones and Androids, they'll also let us know when we're in a space that's too loud, or if you're listening to music that's too loud. So it really is a balance of bringing down the volume in comparison to the amount of time that you spend in those environments. So hearing protection is definitely number one to help preserve the hearing. Regular hearing checks, like Dr. Verma mentioned, often patients present to the clinic with a buildup of wax and they don't even realize it. And that
Mhm.
can add to the hearing loss as well. So definitely regular hearing checks, avoid too much noise exposure. And if you have any concern, just to come in and have your hearing checked. We recommend that you have your hearing checked at least once every 2 years,
Mhm.
and we can just monitor your hearing loss and the progression of that as well. So yeah, there's lots of things you can do.
Mhm. All right, fantastic. Now, Shamari, it would not be a good day if you didn't tell me that there was a special promotion that was
Mhm.
going on for our seniors at Health City. So tell us, how is Health City Cayman Islands demonstrating their commitment to International Day of Older Persons?
Oh, definitely. And as I'd mentioned before, so I'm glad we could start with it and end with it as well, is that we're going to
Mhm.
have our senior health check promotion. So it's for the adults that are 65 years or older. The assessment, as mentioned, actually includes assessing your memory, bone health, balance, continence, and we're going to have an experienced physician who will be doing those tests for you. It's at a reduced price of USD $250. But as mentioned, if there's any issue, definitely call through or email, and we will be able to work with you on that as well. And a huge thank you to our partners, ENT and Cayman, as that also includes a free hearing test.
Mm.
That needs to be booked between October 14th and 31st, and you can call 640-4040 and or info at healthcity.ky in order to book yourself in for this actual promotion that we're putting on.
All right, folks. So do give them a call. And happy International Day of Older Persons. I want to thank our guests for joining us this morning. Miss Dorothy, do you have any special mentions that you want to make in terms of events maybe coming up in the next week or so that you'd like to promote as well?
Right, sure. So there are a number of events for Older Persons Month, which is a calendar
Mhm.
that's put out by the Department of Children and Family Services, and I would
Okay.
ask everyone to to try and get in contact with that calendar. It's on their website, and it can be
Mhm.
forwarded to all of the various groups here in Command. However, there's an exercise session on the 5th, on Saturday 5th, from 9 a.m. to 11, and that's one that Adasi is sponsoring, but you
Mhm.
have to register because the numbers of seniors, they have to register. And then over the break, we're
Okay.
doing sessions on the 11th and the 12th. We'll be in the break, and hopefully we'll get one of the health city doctors that will be able to go with the break with us again some before the end of the year.
Definitely. Well, that's a promise. That's a promise I can make.
Okay, yeah, I know Dr. Rumnish is going to be there on Saturday. I spoke to him yesterday.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And we are going to be transitioning now from talking about older persons, and we're going to now focus on younger persons. So I love this show today. We're going from one side of the coin to the next. So again, thank you to our guests for joining us. Of course, Shamari, we have tertiary education being something in the medical profession that's very, very important, and Health City is really, leading in this area as well. I'm happy to say, offering so many opportunities through your Explorers program. So just remind our listeners about what the Explorers program is, and then we're going to bring in some special young folks to talk a little bit about that as well.
No, definitely. So we have our Healthcare Explorers program. As with everything that we do, if we have it as an actual goal, we make sure that we put our money where our mouth is.
Mhm.
So, from a STEM perspective, we wanted to ensure that we gave as many pathways as possible within the medical field and the
Mhm.
surrounding areas. So, we wanted to reach the youth from the youngest of age straight through to high school and university, to give them a taste of what it would be like to have a medical career, and to try and get as many Caymanians in as possible, to be energized and to be enthusiastic, and to then take the courses they need to take and do well enough in certain areas from a younger age, knowing
Mhm.
the building blocks to actually get to where they would want to be, for a career future in their life. And through the Healthcare Explorers program, we have various products across various levels of schooling, from primary school, as I mentioned, straight through to university. And as of now, we have had over close to 60,000 individual encounters with students across the Cayman Islands. Now, some students may take five different portions of our products, but that's great because we get them to go through from a younger age straight through to university, the various products that we offer. Once
Mhm.
again, and if they take a career that's medically inclined and come back and work with Health City, great. But even if they don't, the fact that they have now investigated and are going into a new field, the Cayman Islands benefits, and that's all that we really do care about. So we had at first one employee within the Healthcare Explorers program. uh,
Mhm.
the program actually reports to myself. So I help with the strategy, and then we had one individual who was doing it. And then because we knew the program was growing, we now have two individuals within that unit, and one who is a younger person who are really, really proud of her. She came into the facility in a non-technical field, and she made one or two moves within, left the organization, and then shortly this position became available, and she came back, and she's doing such a fabulous job. And she is a key component of our Healthcare Explorers program. And you can definitely bring in Shakira now, and she speak a little bit about the program. And then obviously we have a young person who was one of the original 18, the first group of young people we had through the facility. He was one of them, and he's taken many programs and has still been with Health City through our various programs to this day. Shakira.
Good morning, Shakira.
Morning to my audience.
Yes.
How are you guys?
Good to see you. We're good. Thank you so much for joining us again.
I was just on here yesterday.
Sorry?
I feel like I was just on the show yesterday.
Yeah. The time is definitely flying by. So, Shakira, your story has been one that has really been inspiring to a lot of individuals. I remember when you were on last time, so many people were, just really happy to see your journey professionally and how Health City has played such an integral role in that. So tell us a little bit again, for maybe someone who didn't get to see that last segment, what your experience has been and what are you actually doing now at Health City Cayman Islands?
So I originally joined Health City in September 2016, starting off as a patient care coordinator. So when I first came, I was at the reception desk. I was at the front desk. I stayed there for about a year or so, and then quickly transitioned over to appointments, scheduling all of the diagnostic testing, follow-up appointments, first-time appointments. After staying in that role for a while, my supervisor at the time, Marshini, she allowed me to become head of appointments, where I ran a team of 2. And while doing so, I was able to learn about all of the different medical areas. Whilst doing so, I was able to learn about so much in the medical field. But not only did I stay in appointments, because Health City is so heavily invested on cross training and making sure that we are capable of carrying out our duties in all areas. I did a little bit of the outpatient work where, patients would come into the outpatient clinic, see doctors. We learned how we could send off for approvals, how we could get back insurance approvals. Then also going over to the diagnostic side, where you would learn to order, the blood work and so forth. So that's kind of what I was doing. I was more patient facing then. So doing a lot of the patient-facing role. And then, as Shamari said, I left for about 6 months or so, and I quickly returned. Now I'm in the education role. The department would have been a department of one for a very long time with Mr. Bush, who's the education manager. So he did a great job at bringing the program to where it is today. Even Liel, who will be on the program, he would have had a lot of groundwork with him, because he was definitely the one who carried the program this far. But even in the last program year, we were able to surpass 12,000 encounters for the first time, which shows the Department of 2 is working. We've been collaborating. We've been bringing different ideas to the table. Him being older, me being younger, sometimes we come to the table and we say, okay, we can do this, we can do that, and we can definitely see where the department is going, and we're excited to see how much more we can add to the department.
Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead, before we bring Lial in, let's go ahead and see a little video from about him and his journey as well.
Contact goes back a couple of years actually. In 2015 I interned here for a month with the SURF program, and following that I interned here a couple more summers, and then in my last year of university I reached out to Mr. Bush just to see if there was an opportunity for me to get an internship during my gap year. and he did confirm that that was possible, and that's how I ended up here. My day-to-day was quite interesting. I spent a lot of times with the nurses. I got to see them perform many different procedures. I got to connect with patients, which is something that I didn't expect going into this. I did a lot of porter work as well, bringing samples to and from the lab, moving patients to get scans and whatnot. The main thing about it was the patient interaction, which I actually really enjoyed. One of the main lessons also comes from my patient interaction, which is social communication. So that's something that I've been working on as well. And I realized that it's a very important skill going into the healthcare industry. I also learned that teamwork is another very important thing. There are a lot of moving parts in a hospital, and no one person can do their part without the help of someone else. During my last 2 weeks of the internship, unfortunately, I was admitted to the hospital. It was a traumatizing experience, to say the least, but it was also very important looking back. I think that seeing it from that perspective really gave me an understanding of what it's like to be a patient, and gave me another level of empathy that will be really useful going into healthcare. So I'll be starting my medical studies at the University of West Indies in August. And following that, I am not sure exactly which part of medicine I want to go into, but I'm just keeping an open mind in terms of, where that will lead. I would say that Health City has played a major part in my decision to go into healthcare, and throughout my academics, they have also been a key part of the support system that I rely on to, stay motivated and to stay focused. And they've always, made sure that my experience in the past year has been informative and facilitated development of many skills that I will use in the future.
Wow, what an inspiring story. Good morning, young man. How are you? Uh-oh, you might have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi, good morning. I'm doing good.
Good morning, good morning. And I love the microphone. As someone who's in tech, I got to tell you, the changing mic color, I'm feeling it. Very nice look. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You gotta give me some details on that mic. I'm interested. So, what an amazing journey you've had as it relates to, the Healthcare Explorers program, starting out younger with one of the introductory programs, if you will, and really now committing to a career in healthcare. You said you're still a bit undecided on, what you'll do, but from the exposure that you've had so far, what's your favorite part of the entire thing? You did mention interacting with patients.
Oh, well, I will say initially going into this whole healthcare journey, I was initially interested in surgery.
Okay.
And, like I said, over the years, it's changed a lot. Right now, my interest is focused in neuroscience. Yeah, so I'm keeping an open mind as I enter my medical studies.
Okay. Fantastic. Wow. And when you were a young man, maybe in middle school, were you thinking much about a career in healthcare?
I would say so, yeah. I knew from a pretty early age that healthcare is something that I wanted to do in terms of, I would say about 9th grade is when I knew I wanted to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And give us an idea of how your experiences at Health City have really shaped your passion even more.
Well, starting out with my first surf program, it was extremely interactive. I mean, I was very close to doctors, being able to watch as they interacted with patients. I believe I even got to see a couple surgeries in my first surf experience, which was very, very cool to see at such a young age. It really played a part in developing my interest in healthcare. And over the years, coming back to different internship programs, I've really been able to build a good relationship with Health City. Like I said in my video, they've been a key support factor throughout my educational journey. Even pre medical studies, I would always have check-ins with them, and they would see how I was doing, and just provide that support that's always needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see you focusing, obviously, on your education. You've already got your Bachelor of Science degree, which you completed last year in May, from Burman University there in Alberta, Canada. Um, Shamari, I was making a note here that he actually completed the SURF program twice, but you say here that it's no longer possible to repeat it. Is it because you've got experts like Lial who are
Yeah, we have much demand for the program now. So until we're able to grow our resources even further, we're leaving it to once. But we know that's enough because as Lial would have mentioned, he knew from a very young age he wanted to be a physician. We've also our other hat on being in tourism. I think I mentioned that stat before, right? You know what profession does a young person know that they will be that profession from the youngest age? And if I recall correctly, it was pilots, right? Like 95% of pilots knew at the age of 8 that they wanted to be a pilot. Not saying everybody who knows at that age becomes a pilot, but of those
Right.
that become, it was a high percentage. And when speaking to Dr. Shetty as well, there's a high percentage of medical professionals that know by the age of 10 that they want to be that medical professional. And prior to Health City being here, a lot of the physicians you would have seen would have been GPs and the such, just based on the level of services that were here. But knowing now on island that you're going to have neurosurgeons and you're going to have interventional cardiologists and cardiothoracic surgeons, and you're going to have robots and orthopedists that are using robots and the such, we knew that we needed to ensure that young people understood that this was a pathway that was possible for them, especially based on the fact that one of the inhibiting factors typically in other countries would be whether or not you can afford, right? In the Cayman Islands, we're so blessed that we have a scholarship regime that if you want to become a medical professional and you have the grades, the government will pay for it for you, right? So we already know that there is one of those barriers that would have been removed. So let's get into the schools from a young age so that people know it's a possibility, and the young people, and they can actually see the neurosurgeons and the cardiothoracic surgeons. And we can bring them healthcare in a fun way from a young age, as well as they get older, give them the interactions that the EL will have had with physicians, with seeing surgeries, so that they can really hone in on what they want to do and achieve it. And that's why we're really proud of all of our programs, but even more so with working with Charles, where Mr. Bush, right? From a healthcare explorer's perspective, we would have looked at the strategy, right, in regards to how do you reach as many people to encourage them to be a part of STEM and to understand what wonderful careers they can have. And we figured out that obviously being within the school setting itself would be a key component. So we've developed, for instance, our on-demand videos, which we work with all the science leaders and teachers within public and private schools to understand what they're teaching within their curriculum. And then we develop videos using areas of the hospital in order to deliver that curriculum in a fun, interactive way to students in the classroom. And at some point in time, we'll bring on one or two of those science leads to talk about the fact that they've actually seen an increase in the scores from their cohorts based on the fact that now students are even more interested in science, and with that interest comes better scores as well. But Liel is just one example of a young man that obviously has to put in the work himself, but would have taken advantage of what we were showing so that he could be better guided towards what he wants to do. And that's all we're trying to do here at Health City.
Wow, fantastic! I love it. So Shakira, lots of young people looking at the two of you, and they think you might be an anomaly. They're like, well, I don't know if I can do this. They're probably the only two that have gotten through the program. Tell us what your experience, and Lial, you can jump in here as well. What has your experience been seeing the volume and the number of young Caymanians who've had the opportunity to do different aspects of the, Explorers program, everything from surf to, shadow a doctor. Have you seen other people that look just like you that are Caymanians going through this program? And how does that make you feel?
Yes, I've definitely seen quite a few. Even in my internship over the last year, I saw quite a number of students doing SURF program and shadow doctor programs, and I was even able to give guidance to some of them and share my experience with some of them. So I think that was really a very good thing to see and very important as well. It also helped to reinforce, my decision to go into healthcare by being able to explain to them some of the things that happen behind the scenes and some of the intricacies involved in being involved in a hospital setting.
Right. Absolutely. Shakira?
So I've definitely been seeing students progress and pass through the program. So for example, I was at Cayman Prep maybe 2 weeks ago at their careers fair, and seeing some of the students who would have done our shadow doctor previously who would have done work experience with us, and now seeing them at A levels at Cayman Prep and coming up to the booth and saying, "Hey, Miss Shakira, I'm doing my sciences now. This is the direction I'm going. I'm going off to university next year, and I'm returning to come back and partake in the SURF program." As I said, our shadow doctor program, that is one of our most popular programs. Many students take part in that. And as I said, it's just a 2-day program. It's open to students in years 9 to 13. And they're able to come for 2 days and actually just come in and shadow a nurse or a doctor, view a live surgery. But you can actually see where students who come in for shadow a doctor also come back and do SURF, which is the premier internship for Health City. It's a 1-month program. Then you can see where they transition over to the Explorer internship. So these are students who came in and they weren't sure to say, well, I'm not really sure, Shakira, I'm just doing this program, but we'll see where it goes from here. And then seeing where their interest in medicine truly grows to them coming back now and saying, okay, so we did so many shadow doctors. We've done work experience with you guys. Now we want to come back and do your 1-month internship. And SURF is just a 1-month internship that is basically focused around a case study. Our interns are mentored by our world-class doctors. They attend lectures each day, which is based on the case study that they're doing. And they're able to actually see where a patient attended Health City. They would have came in, doctors there would have worked on them. They would have watched this case study. Each doctor who played a vital role in the case study comes in each day and gives the students a lectures, and they're able to shadow in several different departments. But also whilst doing that, they're able to also meet up with doctors, get mentor lessons. They're able to go in, as I said, view surgeries and so forth. But even after attending SURF, you can see where, as I said, their growth continues, because students who have done SURF, they might have done SURF last year or when I rejoined, they came back and did the Explorer internship, which is basically another program up from SURF. So by now, these students would have said, well, as opposed to SURF, they would have shadowed in several different areas. Now, in the Explorer internship, these students come back and they say, well, this is the area I truly want to focus on. I'm interested in doing physiotherapy, or I'm interested in doing cardiology. I'm interested in doing neurology. And they come back and they focus on that area for 4 weeks. So you can truly see how the students transition through the program. And as their interest continues to grow in medicine, they take up the vast majority of the programs that we offer.
Fantastic. Wow. Now, Liel, you've started medical school already. How far in are you into your first year?
Yeah, in my first year.
Okay. How's it been going so far?
Well, we started week 5 this week, and I'll just say it's extremely intense. A lot of information to digest. There's a lot of lecture slides to read through, a lot of independent learning that you have to do. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. This is what I've wanted to do for a long time. So to finally be at this stage is really great.
Hmm. Now, you mentioned at one point that you actually got ill and you were a patient. Were you a patient at Health City, Cayman Islands?
Yes, I was.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
tell us what was that experience like being on the other side?
Being on the other side, well, at the time it was obviously not a great feeling, but
Yes.
as I was started to recover and I started to look back on the experience and reflect, I really saw how it somewhat benefited me because I got to see what it's like to be a patient, what it's like to feel
Hmm.
terrible and to need help and to have to rely completely on your support system and the doctors around you to trust them.
Hmm.
And I think that really was a pivotal point for me, especially right before entering medical school. It really showed me the importance of empathy as a physician and how, that can really make or break a patient's experience.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing like sort of experiencing it firsthand, if you will. Folks, don't forget we've got Health City on for most of the show today, 936-2626. If you have a question or comment, you want to congratulate these young people on the amazing things that they're doing, feel free to give them a call. Lots of messages coming through on the social media streams as well. And what would you say to young people who are actually contemplating the STEM careers? What would you say to them? What sort of advice might you give them?
I would say the most important thing is to get exposure,
Hmm.
uh, especially with programs at Health City. I really feel like they provide a great in-depth experience for students trying to figure out, what area of medicine or healthcare or STEM that they want to be involved in. And like I said, for me, it's been a really important part of me deciding, to make a career out of healthcare. And yeah, I would say just get as much exposure as possible and really experience what it's like in the industry. Yeah.
Hmm. Fantastic. Shakira, what advice would you give to young people who are considering a STEM career?
I would definitely say to anyone considering STEM careers in medicine, anything, the race is not for the swift, but those who can endure. So I know sometimes you speak to the students and they're saying like, but Miss Shakira is really hard, or this was a really hard semester. But when you actually see where you want to go, then
Hmm.
you will realize that every struggle or every setback is going to be a greater comeback.
Hmm. Yep, fantastic advice. And that's any profession, folks. It's not for the swift. No matter what it is that you want to do, you've got to stay focused and put the time in. So Lavana's here with us as a former patient. She says, when I was there, it was truly refreshing to see a young Caymanian trainee nurse. She came into my room a few times. I think she said it was her third year internship. So that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Lavana, for sharing that. She's a recent patient there after having a back procedure. So Lavana still on the road to a full recovery, and so glad that she's doing well. Mellow Fellow says Mr. Shamari might remember Nathan McCoy, who also did similar programs at HCCI, and he is now in year one of medical school at Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine after completing his master's in public health. Wow.
Yes, we've been in contact with Nathan, so he was on I can't remember if it was this program or another one because it would have been a few years ago, but he was the young person who was thinking about being a pilot. I knew he wanted to be a pilot since
Okay.
the age of 8, but then through one of our programs came in and actually saw a surgery firsthand and then changed his mind. He was like, no, this
Wow.
is what I want to do. And then took that pathway and took many programs with us, and actually is on that track as well.
Wow.
So another great story, but was
Mhm.
definitely, I mean, whatever he chose to do would have been great. But the fact that,
Yes.
seeing a young child that we would have saved, because he was a part of the program that
Mhm.
also came in to give some of our young Haiti children that would have been here
Mhm.
having life changing surgery or life saving surgeries, bringing gifts to them. And he would have seen the young child before the surgery. and how they were struggling, and then obviously went into the surgery, and then on the back end was able to see the child after the surgery and was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. So definitely, that's a great story as well.
Mhm.
And to Shakira's point, well, the one thing, and Liel, in regard to, trying to get as much experience as possible, and seeing if this would be something that you would want to do. The fact that we're going to be so close in town and have Kamana Bay, Health City at Kamana Bay, it's going to give us the opportunity to have even more in-person tours for
Mhm.
our younger students, whereas at times it becomes a little bit onerous to get the Georgetown as well as West Bay schooling age children up to East End. We're going to be right there in town for those in town, so we're definitely looking forward to having a lot more in-person tours for those in town. And obviously, East End still would cater to the eastern districts, but if they want to take that trip and go to see our newest hospital as well, we'll also work with them to make that
Mhm.
happen. But we're just, very happy to be able to have a lot of partnerships across the boards, whether it's with parents and or teachers and or schools, as well as even UCCI School of Nursing
Mhm.
across the board, to make sure that we're able to get as many touch points as possible to promote healthcare, education, as well as careers for young Caymanians. That's what we look forward to doing and continuing to do as we
Mhm.
move.
Fantastic. And of course, Lavana says, all of my trips up there, I've never seen Shamari. He's busy, honey chill. She says, I'm going to pop up into your office tomorrow. Just joking, but she has to come up there tomorrow. So, Lavana, yes, he's in and out and all over the place. Trust
I,
me.
I might. Some people call me Doctor Shamari, but trust me, you don't want me in your in your patient room.
Oh my goodness. And having had an experience recently, I didn't realize, Shamari, because I've only ever gone to Health City for like my diagnostic stuff, right? So my
Right.
executive health checkup and all that good stuff. I didn't realize that I've actually never, technically been like an inpatient there, I guess. And so when I had this crook neck the other day that was so incredibly painful, basically I was in a room for, quite a few hours. And I was surprised because I don't know why I thought that the facility at Camana Bay had bigger rooms, but even the ones at East End have very large rooms,
Right.
spacious, and you're able to be, taken straight to a private room. And, while I was getting my IV painkillers, I was able to just kind of relax and be there in comfort. Marlon was there. In fact, it was so comfortable that Marlon lay down in one of the recliners and fell asleep. I was
Did,
just
did,
like,
did you leave him there?
right. But I must say that what I experienced, the patient care was phenomenal. Nurses working in collaboration with the physicians. The physician that they wanted me to see was actually in surgery, but Dr. Benoit said, Sandy, you don't have to. He doesn't come out of surgery till after 4 o'clock, but you don't have to spend the entire day in pain. Come and see us. We've got other consulting physicians who are going to see you and at least get you started in some pain meds, and then we'll get you to x-ray. And everybody just made sure that I was good, even thinking about the small stuff like, you haven't had anything to eat today. Before we give you these pain meds, let's get you something to eat because they can impact your stomach. So it was really quite, as young Liel said, as good of an experience as being in a hospital can be, because no one really wants to be there if you can help it. Trust me. But it was a positive experience. So again, I think we're so vulnerable when we have to go into hospital environments as patients, and it's good to know that you've got excellent patient care available to you. So thank you so much. People who are interested in the Health Explorers program, Shamari, you've got how can they get involved? I know you guys are obviously working very, very closely with a lot of the schools, but is there any opportunity for them to reach out directly if they don't, for some reason have access in a school?
Oh, definitely. Shakira, can you give the email address?
Yeah, so they can definitely reach out to Healthcare Explorers at healthcity.ky. Um,
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they can email us directly if they do want to partake in one of our programs. Sorry. And they can just say that, they're interested in coming into the hospital and partaking in our internship. Then we'll kind of do the groundwork to say, what's the age, what are you interested in, to see which one of their programs that they best fit into. Sorry, my computer. Sorry.
Yeah, and if you can't remember, Healthcare Explorers at Health City, info@healthcity.ky, send through the message. Just make the message clear that you want to get in contact with the individuals for Healthcare Explorers, and we'll be able to ensure that gets to the department. And just to mention that the great thing about having two wonderful young, both I'll say young Caymanian in being Shakira and Mr. Bush is that Charles is that they're both engaged and willing to learn. And we recently had a strategic session just specifically for Healthcare Explorers, once again going over what are our goals, how do we measure success, what are the metrics, what are new products that we can potentially put together in order to achieve the goals, and continuous improvement, and how can we get better and better over the years with the budget we have in order to encourage more people towards this healthcare journey. And Shakira has great ideas, as well as Charles, and it's now putting it together so that, yes, we have this program year already doing well. I think we've achieved 40% of our target already, and the first semester hasn't even finished. Obviously, because we have January through till summer, and we're already close to halfway, and we'll definitely, we believe, exceed our target again. But there was a saying: you can't manage what you don't measure, and that's why we make sure that we measure all of our programs. We measure not only the quantity of what we're doing, but we also are measuring the quality through surveying and such, to make sure that on the back end that we are being truly as impactful as we think we're being. And just a huge thank you to Shakira.
So to add
Charles.
to that,
Go ahead, Shakira. Go ahead, Shakira.
Shakira.
I don't know if she has a delay.
To add to that, and I apologize. So even in terms of getting onto us, just to kind of throw that out there, that Shadow a Doctor is happening October 21st to the 25th, which is the midterm break for all of our schools across the island. So anyone who's interested to come and partake in our Shadow a Doctor program, which is, as I said, just a 2-day program, and you get to select the area that you would like to come into, you can email us at healthcareexplorers at healthcity.ky, or you can go to our website, and once you go to the website, Healthcare Explorers is there, and once you click send a message, you can just fill out the form, and we'll get it directly. So if you guys are interested in doing that, that is coming up on October the 21st and the 25th for their midterm
And
breaks.
what's the age range? Like, how young can you be to participate in that program?
So it's years 9 to 13.
So
from
next
year
year,
9 to 13, you guys are able to participate.
Oh, wow. So from age 9.
No, year 9.
Oh, year 9. Oh, gosh. I thought you said age. I was going to say, boy, we're going to put Gigi in that next year.
I mean, we have products for students as young as 9. So you just have to find the right product. But that one is year 9 through year 13.
I got you. Yeah.
I think Shakira's
Gigi can actually take part in our on-campus field trips or
yes.
virtual field trips. Those are for students age 9 and up, that they can actually come in and do on a tour of the hospital. Because you said Gigi is 9?
Next year she'll be 9. Next year, August. So I'm gonna start to mentally get prepared for that. The other day, as parents, sometimes our children say things to us. Of course, we want our children, we tell children. You can be anything that you want to be as long as it's an honest living and you work hard. And, so she said to me last week, she said, oh, and it's changed, trust me. She wanted to be a teacher. She loves animals. So she's like, I want to be a veterinarian. Then she gets into the dinosaur phase. So she's like, oh, I want to be a paleontologist. I mean, it's like she's all over the map at that age, which is to be expected. But last week she said that she wanted to be a cashier at Chick-fil-A. I got to tell you, as a mom, I was like, okay. And I said, well, it does meet the criteria of being an honest living. But I said, you could do so much more than just being a cashier at Chick-fil-A. But you see, she's thinking strategically that if she works there, she's going to be getting all sorts of benefits.
That's right.
Including the chicken nuggets that she loves so much.
They're all the add-on benefits. Come on, mama. You gotta see it through.
Yeah, she's into that Chick-fil-A sauce. Trust me. So that really made me chuckle. And then I said, well, we'll see. We'll kind of see how that how it goes between now and then. So thank you so much to our guests today. We've had Shakira Connor in the studio with us. We've got Liel Blake and of course Shamari Scott. Thank you guys so very much. Now, Shakira, I see you've got a double barrel last name. Does that mean something has happened recently? Was that last name there last time? It was hyphenated last time as well?
It's a Shakira Connor Education Specialist.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can only see the E. It just says -E. So I was like, what happened to the rest of the name? Oh, I got you. All right. I was just wondering, maybe Shakira got married and didn't invite us to the wedding.
Married to Health City.
All right, no problem, Shakira. Thank you guys so much. Again, lots of exciting things happening over at Health City, Cayman Islands. I love the fact that they're dedicated really to offering all of these amazing options through their Healthcare Explorers program. So everything from on-demand videos, they've got internships, virtual field trips, on-campus field trips, career fairs, secondary school work experience, the shadow a doctor or nurse, because nurses are very important too, STEM day camps, the SURF, which is a summer undergraduate research fellowship, and they're also accredited as an education institution providing technical and vocational education and training for paramedical vocations in the Cayman Islands, working very, very closely with the nursing school there at University College of the Cayman Islands as well. So lots of exciting things. Parents, if you see them, you hear that Health City is coming into both the government-run primary and high schools. Make sure that you encourage your children to attend that day and really pay attention. And Inspiring says, I like that, and I love it too. You can't manage what you cannot measure. And it's a motto that all of us really, quite frankly, should be living our lives by. But thank you so much to our guests today, Shamari, Liel, and Shakira. You guys have a fantastic day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we are going to actually end the program a little bit early today. We were supposed to get some update. Somebody says, you have enough time to talk about Toto. No. We're going to get to that tomorrow, honey child, because I left early yesterday in order to bring you all the latest sentencing hearing for the Kimpton bartender, but it was postponed again until today. So today it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen today. So we want to get there for 9:30. The magistrate is dealing with it before her regular court time starts at 10. So what can I tell you? We'll get you the news on that. And then we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. And we'll kick off the discussion with Toto. What a hot mess. I don't even know what to make of that situation, honey chill. It's all over the place, but we'll definitely kick it off tomorrow morning. Okay. So in the meantime, y'all have a fantastic day. By the way, some weather out there that we really need to pay very, very close attention to. I'm sure that you guys were listening throughout the program, and you probably heard the lightning, not heard lightning, but you probably heard the thunder that goes along with the lightning. So here, folks, is your weather advisory for today. Expect some flooding around the island.
Good day. I am Gilbert Miller, Senior Forecaster with the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. A broad area of disorganized showers currently extends over the southwest Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center has a medium chance of this area developing further over the next 7 days. An upper-level trough over the northwest Caribbean is supporting some scattered thunderstorms across the Cayman Islands today. This will continue to maintain highly saturated soil. Tide levels are elevated at this time and are expected to remain that way this week. While there remains some uncertainty around exactly where further development will occur as the area of disorganized showers drift over the northwest Caribbean, showers are expected to increase across the Cayman Islands. Increased shower activity is forecasted for October 2nd and the 3rd. Model indication is for up to approximately 4 inches of rainfall for Grand Cayman and 2 inches for the sister islands. Showers may become locally heavy at times, accompanied by lightning and thunder. Moderate winds are expected at approximately 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts in and around heavier showers. As such, deterioration in marine conditions is expected. A small craft advisory is in effect for Wednesday and possible small craft warning for Thursday. Residents are reminded to stay abreast of updates through official sources.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.